Well, as the fighting in Gaza intensifies, so do global protests. In London, Palestinian supporters continue to fill the streets. And then in Paris, we've already seen that 100,000 people took a stand against anti-Semitism. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has the story.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu came against the idea of a ceasefire in Gaza until Israel completes its mission. Netanyahu was joined by War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant.
Hamas is under huge pressure. This pressure right now is increasing. They hear the tanks above the tunnels. They hear the bulldozers taking down the houses, and they know very well that they will get to them.
Gallant also warned Hezbollah. However, the next day, 21 Israelis were wounded in attacks on the northern border.
The citizens of Lebanon must know that if Hassan Nasrallah makes a mistake, the fate of Beirut could be like the fate of Gaza.
Inside Gaza, fighting intensified. At the same time, the IDF says it's talking with the heads of the hospitals there.
We opened designated routes from the hospitals in the northern Gaza Strip southbound. We are speaking with the hospital's management teams and are offering assistance to safely transport the sick and the wounded. Civilians of the northern Gaza Strip continue to answer the IDF calls and are moving southwards, despite Hamas doing everything in its power to make them stay.
In an interview with the BBC, Israeli President Isaac Herzog revealed that soldiers operating in northern Gaza found a copy of Hitler's Mein Kampf in Arabic on the body of a terrorist using a civilian home as a Hamas terror base.
It's the book that led to the Holocaust and the book that led to World War II. He even marked, he wrote notes, he marked and learned again and again Adolf Hitler's ideology of hating the Jews, of killing the Jews, of burning the Jews, of slaughtering the Jews. This is the real warrior act.
Demonstrations are taking place in Europe and the U.S. Some 300,000 pro-Palestinian protesters marched through the streets of London as Britain celebrated victory in World War I. In Paris, more than 100,000 people marched to protest anti-Semitism that has soared since the Hamas attacks on October 7th. On NBC's Meet the Press, Netanyahu challenged those who are supporting Hamas.
Those who protest for Hamas, you're protesting for sheer evil.
A huge march for Israel is planned at the National Mall in Washington on Tuesday. William Daroff of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations told CBN's Faith Nation they expect tens of thousands to turn out in support of Israel, the release of the hostages held in Gaza, and to stand against anti-Semitism.
We expect that there will be many, many Jews. There will be many, many of our allies, including in the Christian community, who will be joining us. And the focus of the march is to focus on support for Israel during its fight against the Hamas terrorist army. It is to march to combat anti-Semitism, the amazingly awful rise, the tsunami of anti-Semitic Jew hatred across America.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
If you want to stand for Israel, I encourage you to do it. The rabbis say in every generation, a Haman comes who wants to destroy the Jewish people. Haman is from the book of Esther. He wanted to kill all of the Jews in the empire, and he was thwarted in that effort. And that famous line, for such a time as this. So it is our time, and our time to stand up and say, yes, we stand with Israel. The March for Israel is tomorrow afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m. in Washington, D.C. If you can make it, please be there to show your support. You can also watch live coverage of the march on our CBN YouTube page and the CBN News channel or any of our CBN News platforms. Please get involved. Please stand for Israel.